Hi, everybody. It's time for your Farm and Ranch News. Well, this week here in Billings, Montana, malt barley and sugar beets have been in the spotlight as our friends with the Mountain States Crop Education Association host the 2019 Malt Barley and Sugar Beet Symposium, a popular biannual event for this region's farmers. Day one, it's about barley. Day two is always sugar beets, and as luck would have it, we have one of the experts in this area with us on the program today, our good friend Luther Markwart from the American Sugar Beet Growers Association. And Luther, never a lack of issues to talk about in this ag industry of ours. For the sugar industry, you, like a lot of others, very pleased to see a new farm bill passed and finally signed into law.
Absolutely. It took us all of 2018 to get it done, but we think the final product is very good for sugar beet producers and the rest of agriculture. We got a 1-cent loan rate increase, which is going to help out our producers a little bit, but it's not going to increase the price of sugar to the consumers, and it's going to run at no cost to the taxpayer for at least another decade.
Hey, how about that? A lot of folks certainly like that. You and I have also talked about GMOs and biotechnology a lot over the years, and big announcement late in 2018 from the USDA regarding biotech labeling.
Absolutely. We've worked about 5 years on this to make sure that we have transparency with American consumers. So if they're getting products that do contain some genetic material, transgenic material, they would be aware of that. But there are a lot of crops like ours, sugar, high fructose corn oils, soy oils, canola oils that don't contain any of the genetic material, so that won't be required to be labeled. So that's a great victory for American farmers.
The U.S. sugar industry pays very close attention to various trade agreements, and before we talk about those, in particular, we pay very close attention to Mexico. Talk about that and the suspension of agreements with the Mexicans.
Right. We had a lot of problems with Mexico because they had huge subsidies and they dumped sugar into our market, harming our producers and actually harming our taxpayers too. The Trump administration stepped in and fixed that problem, but that issue has to be looked at and reviewed every 5 years, and that's coming up in 2019 and 2020. So we've got some work to make sure that we keep that problem fixed.
Hey, what about those trade agreements now, whether it's the revision of NAFTA or China or Japan?
Right. We got a lot. The Trump administration wants to redo a lot of these trade agreements, and we think the North American agreement was done quite well. And now we're working on Japan and Europe and other countries. So we have to do a lot of input and give our advice on how we could get good agreements there.
Well, as always, we appreciate you leaving our nation's capital and joining us out here in Montana and Wyoming for this particular symposium, which again happens every other year. Luther Markwart with the American Sugar Beet Growers Association. Now this.